Hey, sweet souls, and welcome to Change Liscious, the podcast that turns life's hot mess into your next big yes. I'm your host, Hedi, work-life innovation coach, design thinker, storyteller, and chaos to success connoisseur. Around here, we don't just talk about change, we live it, we breathe it, we dance with it. So buckle up, grab your favorite drink, and let's dive into the wild, brave, and beautiful journeys of people who dared to remix their lives and came out tasting success. This is Change Liscious. Let's make change delicious. Very good. I'm so happy that you are sharing your wisdom, that you are giving your insights on how to create change, especially in a corporate environment or in a sort of traditional environment, as I would say an untraditional woman and powerful force. Met 9-10 years ago. Zurich Hochschule für Design, so design thinking course. And yeah, we've kept in touch ever since. Please introduce yourself and what you're doing and what your background with change is.
Well, thank you, Hedi, for having me. I started my change career in IT. So I'm originally a software developer. And of course, the business of software developing is doing something different than yesterday. And it was my first introduction to changing the world. And from that, I moved on to better understanding what users really need, because in IT, I often found, well, we know how to do things very well, but in the end, maybe we're not making people that happy or not as happy as we could if we understood them better. So that was my switch to design thinking and further user-centric or human-centric approach to solving problems. And well, now I'm as a product owner of this DevOps team, again, in the midst of change and corporate change and also change of culture. And what's been interesting to me and fascinating to me is the human factor, because in the end, it all comes down to people.
Can you describe what that is and who you're working for?
Well, I'm working for a bank in Zurich and the financial services sector. And it's a very traditional environment, but also, of course, a company that is looking to the future and, thinking about what future customers might want and also what future employees are expecting from a modern workplace and modern environment.
Interesting. How do you work? Because you said the human factor. Can you elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean by the human factor?
I think in the end, it's people that make things happen, or maybe people that need to come together to make something happen. And if you're out of luck and if people in the company in the very first place don't understand what you're trying to achieve with a project or something that you want to change, then it's probably going to be very hard. What we usually would describe as top-down management. You get maybe you have no idea what the reason behind it is, or you don't understand it, and it's not really yours. So you cannot really attribute everything you have and bring your whole self to this project or to this change, because you don't understand it. You don't see why. Is it useful, or maybe you're even resentful. And so I think it's very important to have good leadership and to understand people and have everybody chip in and bring their whole selves to work in general and to projects in specific, because otherwise I think you're not going to be successful.
I though, very, very interesting part, like bringing your whole self to what people would say, okay, I have this division, right? I'm myself at home, but then I'm my work mask or my work role when I'm going to my corporate environment or wherever when I'm going to work, when I'm going to make money. Why do you think this is so crucial to bring your whole self to the table in order to be successful?
Well, I think everybody can profit. I think it's okay and really healthy to have a separation and to have your private life and to have your work life. But nevertheless, in a work environment, probably you have some rules or guidelines on how to dress, and you want to be courteous and you want to be professional. But what I would advise against is having people wear a mask or force them to wear a mask or play something that they are not. On the one hand, this costs a lot of energy if you're not yourself. And on the other hand, everybody is missing out. Because why would we not want people to show their whole selves at work and profit from their passions, their experiences, from maybe a completely different field? Maybe someone who is an administrator is also participating in an event, a sports event, or is doing some extracurricular work and has gained very valuable experiences in that field. And this person can then bring that experience and help everybody along the way and make the project better or give insights. And if you have this strict separation, then you're prohibiting people to tap into their full potential. So I think it makes it easier, it makes it more colorful, it makes it more fun. And hopefully in the end, it results in better services, better products. And yeah, I know it's a bit far-fetched, but a better world for everybody.
Not far-fetched at all. I'm totally with you. Really. What is blocking it, do you think?
Well,
is it fear? Is it or fear of what?
Well, I don't know if you can say this is the one reason it's not working out. I think there are like small little stones that are probably in the way. Of the stones are small, some of them are a bit bigger. I think it's a different way to think about work. And I don't know if in all the minds of the people that make decisions, this new way of thinking has arrived. Meaning our human resources, as much as I have problems with that word, because resources seems to me, I always associate inanimate objects and people are everything but. Yeah. But people are the most valuable part of a company, and the human factor, I think, can often be the deciding factor. I am working for a company, for a bank in a financial services department. So when I'm looking at the people that actually bring the service to our customers, so often it's the way they present themselves, the way they talk, the way they can make a connection with people, the way they can take their time and listen to people, which is not really in their hard job description. It's just the human factor that convinces someone to say, well, this is where I feel seen. This is where I feel I can trust this person. And so much in our business is based on trust. So
why and how? Why is this relevant?
Finances, I think this is the very lifeblood of a lot of people, and especially if you're talking bigger sums or, I don't know, investment of a significant part of your savings or buying a house, buying a flat. This is a very important decision that you're going to make in your life, and you're probably not going to make that often. And if you make a bad decision, it impacts your life negatively, and more negatively than, well, I had a bad dinner, didn't taste that well, tomorrow's going to be another day. But I mean, if your portfolio goes south, there's not just one bad dinner that's going to follow. Or if the finances for your house are not set up correctly, and then suddenly when you retire, you find out, well, I can't afford my house anymore, I have to sell. I mean, these are life-altering things. So I think trust is really important, because these are decisions we make under uncertainty. We don't know. Nobody probably knows what will be in 5-10 years. I think trust is very important in this specific environment.
Only in this specific environment, or where do you think our world is in terms of us human beings? Like, what are the qualities that also change makers need to have in order to create meaningful change in a world of, let's say, AI rapidly unfolding?
Yeah. I think listening and making room for people, like taking the time to, if we're talking about a team setting, for example, that you really get to know the people you are working with, that you understand them, and that you then can bring along the best way to help collaboration in this team or solve the specific problem or the challenge that you're facing together. And you probably can do that a lot better, at least that's my experience, if you know the people that you're working with, if you know their strengths and weaknesses, especially their weaknesses, and that trust comes in, because people won't show you their weaknesses unless they really trust you or they are forced to. But the latter is probably a circumstance that comes along or doesn't come along. You can't count on it, and probably you don't want it to occur that way. You'd much rather have someone confide in you and tell you, well, I'm very good at scheduling. I'm very good at solving problems. What I'm not good at is, I don't know, working with Excel sheets. And I think if there's trust and psychological security, then you're on the road to having a team that can really perform, because you don't have to have that mask up, to go back to that analogy we had before. You don't have to pretend. You can just really be yourself and invest energy in more meaningful things like solving problems or delivering value or thinking up new crazy things to do, which is really what brings us forward, instead of being on the defensive and being afraid and not trusting others enough to give feedback. For example, you know something is wrong, but you're afraid to talk, because if I criticize someone or if I highlight something that's maybe not working exactly like we want it to, then I get penalized. Well, yeah, that's not the environment that is going to be very resilient, because, you know, creating a culture of fear instead of a culture that is in a way resilient and able to deal with change.
So what you're saying, or just to recap, in order to create change makers, we have to create a completely new environment. That means we're listening to each other. So it means that we're fostering the security, that they feel safe in order to create. And what else? What else is missing? What else am I missing?
Oh, well, I think, I don't know if you're missing something, but what I think teams in general profit if they're diverse. And this is ultimately not easy.
What do you mean by diverse?
Different ages, different genders, different identities, to keep it as broad and inclusive as possible. People that have different walks of life, people that are different. I mean, and this can also mean, I don't think we should only focus on people that are perfect, have a perfect track record, but people that bring a different perspective. And of course, this is not easy, because people might disagree. People might not have the same point of view, and you might not be as fast in the beginning, but especially if you need a very diverse set of ideas, and if you want to be very innovative, then I think it's your best bet to have a very diverse team that really can profit from each other and bring in different perspectives.
So that's ... What's the outcome if you have different perspectives then versus if you don't?
Well, talking about change or innovation, I think you will be able to relate to different user groups much more easily and be much more resilient, and also come up with different ideas. If you have a lot of people that are the same and think in a similar way or have similar character traits, the solution those people will come up with might not be as different than a team that is diverse in its nature.
Do you have a concrete example?
Well, I have several examples. When I go a bit farther back, when I was still working in the startup environment, I was working with 3 other engineers, and what we had in common, and I think it is also important that you have some things in common, like core values, but I mean, we were all engineers, and we had the same understanding about software quality that really was a unifying factor, but we were very different in our age, where we came from, different nationalities. Someone was from a really small town. Other people came from way across the world, from India. And in the beginning, it was difficult to understand each other on a personal level. And because we had such different upbringings and experiences, But once we understood each other, and the basis for that was in the first step, the way we understood software development. But going from there, understanding each other's perspective, and it made working together much more interesting. And once we understood what everybody was bringing to the table, we could profit so much from each other because everybody had their strengths and could input and give feedback, and we could learn from each other in a very fast pace, and it was really fun. And I mean, you know yourself, I guess, when you're working together, like in a design thinking project, the way people work together in these types of environments, it's really addicting in a way, because you're so close and you understand each other so well, and what you're doing is so much fun. You never want to stop.
Yeah, very true. There's a very big gap between, I don't know if it's in your environment, but between the projects and the thinking and being creative and the doing, bringing it out there, and that people can actually experience it. So there's a huge gap. What, in your opinion, does the world need in terms of change makers who close that gap?
Well, I don't know if one person or, the change maker themselves can solve that problem, because the way I see in a bigger company, you need to have certain structures, organizational structures in place that enable, a seamless transition from, let's say, change to the delivery. I think it depends on where in the adaptation process the company or the company is, how far have they integrated these two worlds. And depending on that stage, there are probably different skills necessary. What I would say in general is communication skills and making things visible, and talking to different levels of management is such a key skill to have, because I believe there are a lot of good people, a lot of good management people that want to change the things that are happening. Sometimes they don't know. They have to be told. And it doesn't mean that they don't know their job, but they can't be dealing with all the different things. So they rely on people who are experts to tell them what is wrong with the system, and also make some suggestions on how to move forward in a more meaningful way. And of course, it takes a lot of guts, because maybe the person you're talking to is very happy that you're coming with this, but maybe not. So
yes, can you describe the change maker, like the personality of a change maker, and maybe even yourself, because you have, the way I have experienced you always went for it. Like you had hurdles, like you have hurdles in your environment, and exactly, and you're honestly like don't give, not like you don't care, but you're just going for it because because of what are the ingredients, you would say, becoming the change maker you are, and staying the change maker, and really you are creating impact. What's the deal there?
Thank you. I strive to be better than myself yesterday. Well, what helps me personally is the purpose, and knowing my purpose. And my purpose is, to bring about change, but also to enable people to have a work environment where they can have fun, and where they can.
She said it.
I said it. Well, I mean, I guess it's from Lego Serious Play, but it really resonated with me. Is like, work is serious play. I mean, if we go back to how we used to play when we were children, I mean, the sky was the limit. And I think this is the essential power to unlock. If we're in the corporate environment and we're solving hard problems, then you want to tap into that power source. And you can access it if you're free, and if you're yourself, and if you just, let go. And then you need all the things we talked about. And I mean, for me, creating that environment and all the things that I know will snowball from that, like better product, better services, happier customers. And it keeps on and on and on. I mean, this is a bit of the perpetuum mobile, right? Because if the people are happy, then the customers are happy, and the customers tell everybody, well, it's a cool company. Then other cool people come and apply and want to work for us, and then so on, so on. So this is nice. This is making the world a better place. And, this is the one thing that for me is, I mean, the essential thing to know for me. And the other thing is also, in a way, a bit of self-confidence and devil-may-care attitude. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? Somebody's going to say no. Well, so then I can try again. I mean, if they say no, why did they say no? Didn't I do a good job in convincing them, or is there someone else I need to talk to? To me, this is interesting, to understand what does it take? How can we bring about this change? And also a bit, it's a bit politics also, understanding how decisions made. And
what is bravery made of?
For me, it's being aware that you're probably scared, that I'm scared, and being okay with it. I mean, and then again, I remind myself, well, if I'm scared, probably it's just my brain telling me, well, you've never done this before. And then I think about Pippi Langstrumpf, who said, well, I've never done this before, so I know I'm going to be exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? I think being uncomfortable and doing things that are hard is kind of fun for me. I mean, I like it a lot, because why do the easy things? You're not gonna learn as much. Yeah. I mean, I guess Martin Scorsese said, well, this is probably going to be one of the last films I make. Why not go for it? I mean, why not take risks? I think this is really what drives me in a way, is when I have something that I believe in and that I think that will do a lot of good and will have a positive impact, then I go for it. Because, I mean, it's probably just who I am, and really I have to. But then again, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. How do we get there? Like, how does those people who are scared to take that risk, to move ahead, how do we encourage them, or maybe even help them unlearn, in order for them to be as confident?
I don't think there's one size fits all solution, but I think getting together with people that encourage you, that see the best in you, but also people that push you, is a good start. If you try to do it all alone, it is so much harder, especially if you're starting out. I mean, when I look back at my career, I always tried to find comrades and help. I had you to talk to, other students at the design university, really team up. And also in teaming up, be courageous. Don't only team up with people that love you so much that they will never criticize you, but seek out, as much as you're there, people that will criticize you in a way, because it will help you grow. And the more I believe that you're getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, the more resilient you get. I mean, you don't have to lie in a bed of nails, but I mean, little bit of pricking a rose and getting maybe a little uncomfortable, you ease into it. And you try to do a bit more and a bit more. Don't overwhelm yourself, I would say, because of course this is going to be probably too hard, and then you get disappointed. Probably not that wise, but little by little. And the more you do it, the easier it gets.
What is your best advice for how you support people in this little by little process that is sometimes long? Innovation is long.
Innovation,
Not the easy way, by the way.
no.
It's a great label, but it takes time.
Yeah, and it's the long game.
Exactly. And it's not always fun, right? So let's be no. So
well, so I mean, how to get started, or
yeah, how to get started, but also how to keep your breath, because a lot of people are not starting. And then those who are having the longest breath and can motivate themselves, and as you said, be resilient and take the take the failure as a chance to grow and make something better next time, even, like build up. These are really those who make it really successful in the end. Like, it took my business, I don't know, when I'm remodeled, it took me 3-4 years to really nail it. Like, it was a hard, and I also have this notion of I have fun because I learn, but then I see a lot of people that give up, and they are such geniuses actually, but they don't make it to the finish line. And that breaks my heart. So how do you support people in really stay motivated, also not leaving the company? How do you keep them afloat and bring them through those messy stages of change when there isn't an end to see?
Yeah, I think if you're relying on motivation all the time, then this is going to be a problem, because you're not going to be motivated every day, and your environment is probably not going to help you to stay motivated. So you have to tap into something else. I would come back to my values and my vision. Why am I doing this? And then to me, it's, like not even like taking part in the Olympics, because that's every 4 years. To me, it's who I am as a person and the impact I want to have. And this is really, if I have an obstacle, then I want to overcome it, not because I want to show my manager, and not because I want to post it on some social media feed as my achievement, but because in a way that who I am, and that's who I want to be, and every single day. And this is something very fundamental and raw in a way, but it's something that will never go away, because it's not dependent on the outside world. And of course, I can enjoy if things go easy and management is looking my way and saying, wow, what your ideas are great, let's do this. And I can enjoy that, but I'm not going to show up differently just because someone says, well, I don't believe in this idea, and this is really not the right time to do it. And by the way, we have many different things and many other things I have to take care about, and innovation is not one of them. Mm-hmm. So if you're relying on motivation, if you're relying on outside validation, I think this is going to be difficult. Find something within you that drives you, something that you can access and that you can tap in anytime. And I would also say, take it with a grain of salt, because we're just human. We have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to try to, be committed and do it every day. But don't beat yourself up if you can't, because we're not machines. We can't be perfect every day. But if there's something within you that really resonates with that vision or with that goal, then you can reactivate it and realign yourself in a way to the trajectory, and just say, well, the next person that says that is just something that will make me better, at listening, understanding, overcoming, whatever. It's just, skills to gain.
Absolutely. In practical terms, because you have 15 people, right? How do you create this clarity of who am I? How is this resonating with me in the first place? Can you share something about that?
Well, it's a bit interesting here, because not all the people are working in the same department, like in an organizational way, but they're working in the same team in a content way. So the way they are, let's say, managed, much as I find that word difficult in a personal level, what I try to provide is meaning, and talking about, we have a workshop coming up about roles and what everyone knows about what's written down, how we understand it, how this person that has the specific role understand it, and then from there co-create our understanding of it.
What is the biggest time investment in terms of preparation or thinking it through and creating and doing it?
Well, it takes time, because you can't do as much as I sometimes like to, because I'm a bit fast. I'd like to do, let's talk about our roles, let's talk about the vision, let's talk about our goals, and then we have our team charter, and that's it. And now we can work. It doesn't work like that. I had to learn, you start with something and then you gauge where people at, because everybody comes in from a different environment, different background. There are new people that joined the company that maybe didn't have such a great experience in their last company, and they're just trying to find out, how does this company work? Can I really trust them? Are they as nice as they seem? Oh, well, they are. I really can't believe it. So take it step by step, and really, I think it has to be tailor-made to the team and where they are at the moment. I mean, what they need. Is it more clarity on the vision? Is it more clarity on who they are as a person, or who the team wants to be? Is it maybe something very hands-on, like do they need to make a project plan because the planning has been all over the place? And from there, what I try to do is open up discussions and really the space for everybody bring his or her best self and bring ideas, and sometimes also set constraints like, love your great ideas, but for the moment we have a deadline we have to meet, and then we can go explore again and make changes. And I think this is so interesting because it's always different.
It's always different, but would you agree that it's about clarity? Because it has to be, the common ground has to be set in order for each and everyone to be, to log in, kind of to plug in.
Yeah, it has clarity on different levels, like clarity on what is the responsibility of the role, clarity of what we're trying to achieve, and clarity also on the social aspect. I mean, what is the basis of our work together? Can we trust each other? If I call in sick tomorrow, do I have to worry? Is somebody going to stab me in the back, or do I come back and all my work is done because my colleagues were actually there for me and were looking out for me?
So it's a lot, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been a thought or like a theme that has been coming up a lot. And I wonder about this a lot, is it's about basically creating a completely new functional well-being environment so people can thrive.
Yeah.
Is this the role of a new leader? Because I think in the past, what has also people either stop or quit or whatever you call it is the extent to where the environment, and whether that's family, right, or it's corporate environment, whatever kind of environment we're talking about, that drains your energy so you're not yourself, so you cannot perform. So our task now is to recreate environments and where people can be themselves, show themselves, to create something that is of value, but they first have to obviously feel valued. It's inside out. I think that's where we are at the moment. What's your take on that?
I see it just as you described it before. And I would add, to me, it's also allowing people to show themselves and also to accept them with all their flaws. Right. Because of course we have very cool people that know a lot of things, but sometimes they bring a bit of baggage with themselves. I mean, everybody has a big bag of experiences. Some of them are good. Hopefully most of them are good, but some of them maybe are not that good. Yeah. And I think as someone who is on the forefront of change and really cares about the people they're working with, you have to make time and room to unpack some of the not so nice experience that's been there and that's keeping somebody down, or in a way you talked about limiting beliefs, something that someone is carrying for their whole life. Help them help themselves. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, but I can create an environment where people feel safe, feel seen, and feel safe enough to address those things, because in the end it's up to everybody themselves to address these issues. No boss, no changemaker can solve those problems for them, but we can create an environment where those problems get solved. And I mean,
can get solved, right?
Can get solved. Genau, yeah, exactly. I mean, once more, better place for everybody.
Right. Yes. Right. once again, that's the snowball effect. It's very real, right? What is your message to the world apart from what you just said? What would you give as your spoon of wisdom to those who want to make change, but who don't yet?
I just say, think of all the amazing things you might create. You might find out all the amazing experience, the interesting people you will meet, and the wonderful things you will learn about yourself. I mean, this is everybody's adventure. This is your adventure. Go on and have it. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap on another Change Liscious episode where transformation never tasted so good. If your soul's feeling fed, don't forget to follow, leave a love note, aka review, and share the goodness with somebody really ready to flip the script. For more juicy insights and sweet inspiration, follow me, Hedi Schaefer, and let's keep stirring up change that sticks. Until next time, stay real, stay bold, and keep it Change Liscious.